Hey, what's up guys? Wes and Justin here from Rocky Mountain, and we've finally got our hands on the new DR-Z4S. Now, the biggest question in I think all of our minds is, how does this thing stack up? Is it that much better than the original bike? And so we happen to know a guy that is very familiar with DR-Zs, and he had one, a semi-mint.
Semi-mint for sure. This is a 2002 DR-Z4S. I've had a couple DR-Zs. I really like the bikes. I've built this one for adventure riding. I did a video on that, so if you're curious to see all the little things I've done to this bike, be sure and check out that video on our YouTube channel. But for today, the big question is, how much better, if at all, is the new one than the old one that's been around for 25 years?
Yeah, I don't want to beat it up too bad. I mean, I think this is probably the talk of the industry right now with how controversial no 6 gear. It's pretty expensive compared to what the other options in the market are right now. So
for the small bikes.
With all that taken into consideration, we really just wanted to get our hands on this, swing a leg over it, and give you our opinion. So that's what we're gonna do. We'll spend some time on these and let you know, and hopefully you find some value in that. So let's get out and ride.
Go.
Okay guys, so here to give you my overall opinion of first riding this bike. So after first hopping on the bike, it immediately felt good. I felt like the ergos are all where they should be. The bike feels playful. The engine is surprisingly peppy, and it overall, like just swapping back and forth between this and the 2002, it feels faster and just more spunky. And that's something that I appreciate because I like to ride and have a good time and twist the throttle when I'm on a motorcycle. So that stood out to me. Also, the other thing when we got off road is the suspension and chassis. This bike works, and I appreciate that because I've got a big, most people at Rocky have a dirt background, and I include myself in that group. And so we like to ride aggressive off-road stuff. And so having a bike that has suspension that comes on it, that's ready to go, ready to ride and hold up to some more aggressive off-road riding and not just blow through the travel immediately is a good thing. And really, with the price tag that this comes with, it should feel that way. It should be the cream of the crop as far as a dual sport bike goes. With that, it does help start to justify that price point for me a little bit. And I think that for somebody that is looking for the best of the best as far as a dual sport bike goes, really 50-50 street and dirt, I think this is filling that hole. Suzuki, since they released this bike, has really had a category or a class, a part of the market. They've owned that part. And nowadays, other manufacturers are catching on to that. And there is some other competition in this category. But this bike, as far as being a complete total package, engine package and suspension chassis feel and performance, I think Suzuki is doing it right. Still, myself, I think that $9,000 MSRP is pretty steep. If I were actually in the market right now, I would be looking at some bigger bikes, I think, if I'm spending close to that 10K. So that's probably still a big hitch for me. The 5-speed is still a killer for this. A lot of guys at Rocky love the adventure stuff. We love multi-day rides if we're hopping on a bike like this. So this bike is plenty capable of that, don't get me wrong. We've had multiple DR-Zs that have done the trips with us, but it is a bummer to see a brand new bike top to bottom and have them not give us that 6-speed. So that is still kind of a deal breaker for me, but overall, had a really good time on this bike today, and I'm impressed. It's been a lot of fun, and it's definitely shown that it is a step above those entry-level dual sports that are $2,000, $3,000, more $1,000 cheaper than this bike. So overall, pretty stoked on it. We're obviously gonna keep this around and build it out and adventure it and keep riding it.
All right, guys, so having spent a lot of time on DR-Z400s, owning a couple, putting thousands of miles on them, when this bike came out, I was pretty excited that Suzuki was gonna finally update the bike. I was hoping they were gonna give us some of the things we really wanted on the old one, like the 6-speed transmission. And when I found out they didn't have the 6-speed, the price was relatively high, it actually got a few pounds heavier, I was a little disappointed and I wasn't super excited to try it out anymore. After today though, after spending a few hours on it, it didn't take very long at all to realize that this bike is a lot of fun. It actually made my old bike feel kind of boring. The suspension is a lot better. That really surprised me. The forks on this thing are amazing. And that's one thing that I think people don't realize when they're looking at the price, how much good components in suspension cost. I mean, it's not cheap. So where this thing actually has rebound and compression adjustment on the fork and slow and high speed compression on the shock and rebound as well. They're just really good suspension components. And even though the old DR-Z wasn't bad, it was actually pretty good, this thing's a lot better. The suspension's really good. And then the motor is just a lot more fun. And I think that just comes from the fuel injection versus the carbureted. I thought it was gonna be detuned a bit, be a little more friendly for emissions and all that kind of stuff, but this thing's a lot more fun to ride. It's a lot more peppy. You know, when we drag race them and rolling on the throttle, they don't seem a whole lot different, but riding it, the fun factor is just a lot higher on this. You have a bigger smile on your face when you're riding this thing. So those are the things that stuck out to me. I have to say, I'm pretty surprised. I really didn't think I was gonna be impressed by the bike, but it's a lot of fun to ride. I'm kind of mad I rode it because I want to ride this one now and not my old one. So a couple other things that stood out to me, the seat is a lot more comfortable than the old one. I've got a Seat Concepts on mine, which is a really nice seat, because the old one, I swear, was like as wide as a 2x4 and it was not comfortable at all. This thing actually gets a little wider in the back and it just felt good. I didn't have a problem with the seat. Would I put a Seat Concepts on it? Probably at some point if I'm going to do big rides, but comfortable bike. Another cool feature on this bike that the old one didn't have is the electronics. You've got different traction modes, power modes, the ABS. I'm the kind of guy, I don't usually play around with that stuff too much. I usually set something and leave it alone. I did play with this a little bit. Obviously, you've got to turn the ABS off, especially off the back wheel if you're off-road. And I didn't like that every time I turn the key on, I have to turn that off every time. I wish I could just turn it off, leave it off. Some of the electronics with the traction control is pretty cool technology. I didn't get a lot of chance to play with that, but that is something pretty cool that Suzuki's put into this that they didn't have before, and that a lot of the other small adventure bikes don't have.
Okay guys, so real quick, taking a little bit closer look at the new bike. Our R&D team has been hard at work already, trying to bust products out for this and get products and options to market quick. So we've already got the skid plate covering up this engine here. And that's probably the first thing that you'd want to add to this bike when you first get it. Protect that motor. Make sure you're not going to have any catastrophic damage. The stock skid plate is pretty minimal. So that's a no-brainer. But I know our R&D team is hard at work on some other products as well. So for us, luggage is always a big one. So obviously we're going to do a top rack. That's something any rider is going to need on this bike. We're also going to do full pannier racks and then also some soft luggage racks or soft luggage mounts back here to protect your plastic, keep the weight off of these side panels. So look forward to those. And then obviously up here on the dash, we've got our dash panel, accessory dash panel up there to put all your switches and stuff. So just a few of the items that we're going to be bringing to market for this bike. But that's not all. We're going to continue riding this thing and looking for any holes that it has and try and fill those. So stay tuned for that.
All right, guys, so that's our first impressions of the new DR-Z400. And I gotta say, it exceeded our expectations. This thing was actually a lot of fun to ride. It's a great bike. We're gonna keep this thing around, do a lot of adventure riding on it. So we'll have a lot of content on this bike coming up.
Yeah, obviously we're gonna keep building products for it. We'll source some other products and build this one out and probably do a build video as well. So yeah, if you guys are interested in this bike or have one of the original generation DR-Zs, comment below. Let's talk about it and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and stay tuned for more content. We'll see you in the next one.